Hello, outsider. And I say that because I feel an outsider myself. And if you found my channel, I would imagine you're somewhat similar, because there'll be a nice mirror and magnetism between us, you see. So I would imagine you resonate with the outsider archetype just like myself. Welcome. What's on my heart just now is the power of group energy. And I know I'm choosing to be a little bit out when it comes to group energy, and I have done my whole life. In school, I felt really unsafe in cliques and groups, and I tend to be a little bit like, ooh, because there's a power to group energy that's very real. They've done studies on group meditation, and that being so powerful and really, really shifting things from a scientific perspective, and then being able to measure the power of that. In my last video was, and one person having an idea, enrolling an entire group with the same idea, and then the power of that, right? It's like a collective responsibility when it's group energy, because there's an awareness from us that we say, okay, I'm aware group energy is way more powerful than me, therefore I'm discerning when it comes to groups of the sacredness of the space. This is one of the reasons why I absolutely love Heart IQ and Christian Pankhurst, because his expertise with group energy is such that he will notice groupthink and group dynamics and make sure that every being in that group stays in their sovereign energy, and that the group don't take over and go somewhere that's kind of like, oh, hold on a moment, we wouldn't have gone to that space, but we were sort of enrolled in the group energy and then got taken along with it, and then afterwards it's a bit like, oh, I lost myself. He's very careful, allowing each being to be sovereign in their own space, and there is no derailing of the group, let's say. But he's the only person that I've come across that can do this, right? And I mentored with him for this reason, so that I can take this ability into my group spaces so that it doesn't derail. Because I think it's so important for where we're going, because there's this group power that seems to it's almost like it can manipulate humanity in big ways. So being aware of that as we go into the future. So I wanted to say, if you've ever been taken over by a group energy, that's okay. That I have had experiences of, being in big groups, going to concerts, and I'm so empathic that I'm hit very much with the group energy, and I kind of lose myself and get lost in the group very quickly. So if there's a certain frequency in the group, I can feel it and take it on, and then almost be, it's like then I think that's me. So I get to know that about myself and be very discerning in group spaces, and make sure I check in with myself, breathe, self-connect. But it is because if you know this part of you, instead of judging it, it's because it gives that perceived safety. If we're in with the group, if we're accepted with the group, if we're doing the same as the huddle, we're liked, we're in the clique, it gives this impression of I'm safer here. But it's a perceived safety, it's not a real safety. And for where I think it comes from is Neanderthal times, when we were away from the pack. It was a very real threat, because we might have been eaten by a saber-toothed tiger or an animalistic threat. You know, if we're chucked out of the pack and we're out of the tribe, we're very likely to die and get eaten by the saber-toothed tiger if we're by ourselves. If we're in with the pack and everyone's got spears, we're protected. We're much more likely to be able to fight off danger as a group. Whereas if we piss off the group and they chuck us out, our life is very much in real danger. So there's sort of like a cellular memory that kind of unconsciously we're going, oh, we need to make sure we fit in here. We need to do everything possible to fit into this group because otherwise we might die. So there's this unconscious part of us that likes to do that, likes to fit in. So if you've kind of ever almost like betrayed yourself in order to fit into a group and gone with something that you were a bit like, I don't like this, or I don't like talking about this person when they're not there, but I didn't say anything because I don't want to be kicked out of the group. You know, it's okay. Like, I feel like most people have had that experience. I've been in group dynamics where I've just walked away rather than saying, you know, can we have no third party talk? It's nicer if you need to talk about that person, how about bring them over here or have a one-on-one conversation with them. Enrolling the group into an idea about a person that's not here, I feel is, you know, stabbing them in the back, and I feel there's a sticky, heavy energy, and I don't like it. And instead of saying that, I've just taken myself away from the group and thinking, you know, if I bring this voice, is it going to land in their hearts, or am I just going to be shunned and kicked out? But then I take myself out anyway. So I'm looking forward to those spaces where I can bring that outsider voice into a group and it's heard by the group rather than I'm just looked at as the weirdo and the outsider. Yeah. So a reminder to myself to be gentle with myself, a reminder to you to be gentle with you. If you've had experiences of being taken by the group energy, it's okay. It's not like a bad thing. It's very much in our DNA. It's very much in our unconscious. It very much happens to, for me, every single being. It happens to all of us. That's why having a consciousness around group dynamics for me is really important, because otherwise it does and will happen unconsciously that the group will enroll into a certain energy, and then actually there's no space for each being to be sovereign, and there needs to be a conscious space for, we know the group energy will take over, so the group energy or the person driving will take the group, and then it's like, hold on, make a space for those sovereign beings, make sure everyone is still self-connected. Is there another voice here? You know, is there another perspective here? And use the wisdom of the whole group rather than just blindly going off with group energy. And I feel that's another thing that quite often spiritual circles we need to recheck. It's not about enrolling and all being in the same energy. It's keeping serenity and making sure each being has a voice. And if you know about that and you're the outsider being the responsible one for like, okay, how do I bring in this voice through my heart so that it's heard? Upechai.